Well, hey there, you're on the internet, I have some free time, and welcome to the Triple N Network, where all you newbie nib nerds can find all the news you'll need. Let's look at an ink today, shall we? Now, today's ink, I'm actually all out of. I'm pretty sure. Yep, all gone. It's Sheaffer Skrip ink, so when it comes in a cartridge, the cartridges look like this. When it comes in a bottle, the bottles look like this. And the two pens I used were this Sheaffer School Pen, which sadly they don't make. I got it for about $3, and this thing is a little workhorse. It's fantastic. It's been just about everywhere I've ever been. And also this Sheaffer 100 with a medium nib. And despite the fact that this is a medium nib, this school pen apparently has a quote-unquote fine nib, but it writes a much bigger line than this one. So for fun, I thought I'd compare the blue-blacks of three of the pillars of the fountain pen world. Here we've got Sheaffer's Skrip Blue-Black, Parker's Quink Blue-Black, and Montblanc's Midnight Blue. As you can see, these two are definitely much, much lighter. This one is incredibly lighter and also really green. But that's for another day. As you can see, there's something fascinating going on in here. There's like gold, almost a little bit of purpliness. Yeah, this ink actually surprised me. I really dig it. Here's the chromatography. As you can see, really not a lot of potential for water resistance. I mostly focus on this one because there's more to look at. Something will remain. It will be this weird gold gray thing, but most of the blue will wash off. So some will remain, but not a whole lot. Let's check out the paper test. Clairefontaine 90 grams per square meter. If my camera will get it together. You can see that there's actually some shading going on, which is nice. For some reason the medium nib took 9 seconds to dry, and the school pen took 7. But I feel like here in the scrubbies you can really see the nice potential for water, or shading. Oy. I like that it's a dark blue-black, but you would not confuse it for a weak black. It is definitely blue, which is kind of nice. No bleed feather spread, not too much echo. It's generally well behaved. Really not bad for water resistance. Most of the other Skrip inks I've tried have absolutely no water resistance whatsoever. So the fact that as much of this remains as it does, and that it's fairly dark, fairly clear, didn't explode or feather, really not bad. Next is Rhodia, 80 grams per square meter, where again the smaller nib took 9 seconds to dry, the school pen took 7. Again, you see a nice degree of shading. Really not bad. And I thought the dry times really weren't too bad. I mean, under 10 seconds, really not going to complain about it. No echo really, which is nice for such a dark ink. No bleed feather spread. No sheen. Water test is not fantastic, but I feel like on a sliding scale, really not too bad. If you had to recover that, you could. And if you had it in a broader, wetter nib, you'd probably have a lot more to read. So, next is Tomoe River Paper, where again you get a nice amount of shading. And again, so far the dry times have been freakishly consistent, which is just weird. But I'm not going to complain. I kind of like it. And also, I'm not sure if I'm going to get this on camera. But you get a little, it almost like, it's like it wants to sheen. You can see sort of like a red metallic-iness wanting to come through. But yeah, instead if it were a broad wet nib, it would probably sheen. The flow has been good all along. No bleed feather spread, not too much echo, considering this is a pretty dark ink and this is extremely thin paper. Water test, definitely not the worst we've seen on Tomoe River. If you had to recover that, you could. It didn't explode, didn't feather. Could have been a heck of a lot worse. Next is 20-pound Copier Paper, where sorry. 3 seconds to dry both times. Not a lot of shading remains, but a little bit. This paper is so awful. There's bleeding and feathering and spread, and it's about the same in both pens, so it doesn't seem to matter if it's the slightly broader school pen. They sort of both are equally problematic. Here I feel like you lose a little bit of the blue. It's starting to look more like a weak black, but definitely the best water test we've seen so far. Very clear, very dark, didn't explode, didn't feather. That would not be a chore to recover if you had to read that. Next is Mead Notebook Paper, where I only used the Sheaffer 100 because after the performance on the Copier Paper, I thought the smaller, slightly drier nib would be more fair. 4 seconds to dry. You still see a little bit of shading. Almost no bleed except at the edges, which makes me think that it's the paper and the pressing process. Yeah, there's no feathering or spread really. The echo is fairly minor, especially for such a dark ink on such thin paper. Water test really is, I'd say it's pretty good. It didn't explode, didn't feather. It's fairly dark, it's fairly there. Really not bad. And lastly is Moleskine Notebook Paper, where it's a slightly smaller page, and since I wanted to use both pens, I felt like I had to explain that. So everywhere where there's an A, that was the 100. Everywhere there's a B is the Sheaffer School Pen. And like I say here, I hate knowing that most people won't get the same result on this Moleskine paper, because this is that freakishly well-behaved paper. There's no bleed, really not much echo. There's no feathering, no spread. I wish this paper were as well behaved all the time, but it's really not. Water test, really not awful. It is a little patchy. It did kind of feather a bit in a couple places, but it's mostly there, it's mostly dark. Would not be such a terrible thing to try and recover it. So there you go, there's Sheaffer Skrip Blue Black. After these tests, I've actually really warmed up to it. I'm considering getting some cartridges. So, yeah. For your consideration from the Triple N Network, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching.